Happy Monday to you. Hope you're doing well. You know, habituation, in which an animal or human really becomes desensitized to a certain stimulus, is really problematic if you're trying to study behavior, especially if you're trying to evoke a certain response from an animal to a particular stimulus. I remember years ago observing a study that was being done in which mice, where the ethologists and the biologists were trying to determine anti-predatory behaviors on mice whenever they encounter a predator. So the mice had already been housed in this big old 50-gallon aquarium for several days, and they become very used to the aquarium. They were residents, so to speak, and very comfortable with it, and knew all the hiding places, everything about that aquarium. And then one day they dropped a snake in the adjacent aquarium, and both the mice and the snake could see one another. And immediately, and I do mean immediately, the mouse ran straight to the other end of the aquarium as expected and dove underneath the wood chippings. And the snake, boom, probably has a bit of a flat nose because he slammed right into the aquarium, not realizing that that was glass or plexiglass, and tried to get at the mouse. And this went on for a couple of days, but only for a couple of days. And then all of a sudden what happened is the mouse would no longer hide. None of the mice would. They would stay on top of the wood chippings. In fact, they would go all the way over here to this end of the aquarium. And the snake, on the other hand, would go all the way to this end over here, not even attempt to go after the mouse. So both had become habituated to one another. The mouse was used to the snake's presence and had learned, you know what? You can't get me in here. And they went about their business. And for years, this posed problems to biologists who were raising certain fish to be able to turn them loose, raise them in captivity, raise them in a controlled environment, in stock ponds. And then the whole idea was to take them and now restock lakes and ponds throughout America. Well, the problem with that is that in aquariums next to them or other stock ponds were predatory fish. And the prey fish became habituated to the predatory fish. And next thing you know, when you turn them loose out in the wild, they were gobbled up in a second because they're going, oh, hey, predatory fish, how you doing? And now all of a sudden they're food. Same thing with the mouse. You turn this mouse loose after several months of being in this aquarium, and if it encounters a snake, it may not flee. Well, that's called habituation. And habituation did not work out so well for those ethologists and biologists who are trying to study a certain response in mice when they encounter predators. But by golly, it can help you by having your animal overcome. That habituation can help work for you. Case in point, many dogs are afraid of vacuum cleaners. You've been seeing Captain Mill about this room in here. So is he. If I go and get out a vacuum cleaner right now, Captain is going to hightail it out of here. So watch this. Let me just grab a vacuum cleaner out of here. And he's gone. Sure enough. Okay, so that's a fearful response. Very fearful. So here's a couple things that you can do if you had the same thing. Okay, so let me put my vacuum cleaner behind the door. What's up, cow dog? Great. Attaboy, buddy. Okay, now, in this particular instance, that crate has become the aquarium. It's an enclosed crate, which affords him two strategies for him. One, to hide. I can hide in here from the provocative or fearful stimulus. But it will work against me if he feels he's trapped. And the mice felt the same way. It wasn't enough just to run to the other end of the aquarium. They dove underneath the wood shavings. They hid from the snake. So what I'm doing right here is, you saw in the video, if this were at my home, and I wanted to kind of get Captain over the vacuum cleaner, not to be so fearful of it. If I don't put him in a kennel or enclose him in a room, he can learn to actually be more fearful of the vacuum cleaner. He can just dodge it, skirt it, run to the opposite end of the house. And he'll never get over it if I allow him to do that. These mice, there was no door on the other end of this aquarium. They weren't able to run to the other side of the laboratory, sneak out a little crack, go outside. No, they were forced to be here. And this was clear glass. They were forced, and that's how the habituation occurred. Same thing with humans. I've talked about it before. You move to a new home right next to a railroad track. You didn't realize that. So until about 2 a.m. in the morning, and here comes a train. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, you're killing me. I can't get any sleep. That train just woke me up. How often do they come by during the night? Give it a week and a half at the max, and that train won't wake you up at all. How do I know that? Because that's exactly what happened to me when I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Exactly. Moved into a house right next to train tracks. When I was a kid growing up, train tracks, they were abandoned. No trains went down those train tracks. They were just abandoned, just something that we played on and hiked over. No, these were active. So you will habituate to it by a clock. Tick, 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 driving you crazy while you're trying to do work from your home. Next thing you know, a couple days later, you don't even notice the clock. So in this case here with Captain, I'm putting him in a kennel because I'm forcing him to be like that mouse. I want the kennel to be enclosed to afford him the illusion that I can hide from the scary old vacuum cleaner. So now, here would be my next step that I'd recommend for you. Okay, the vacuum cleaner comes out, but it comes way over here. And that's it. That's it. Now we simply leave the vacuum cleaner in the room. The snake is in the room. And we leave the dog in the kennel. We don't go over there and say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. No, no one was doing that to the mice. No one was doing that to the prey fish and hundreds of other animals that have been studied under the exact same circumstances. No, we just leave animal to study vacuum cleaner. And you leave it like that. And you leave them in there for probably a couple of hours a day with the vacuum cleaner present. Okay, and then you can do all sorts of things from there, but I'm going to make it really simple for right now. We can talk about more steps later on in other subsequent videos. But the next thing I'm going to do is now turn on the vacuum cleaner. But I'm not going to give it any life other than sound. So no animation. I just take it and I plug it into some wall. And I turn it on. You get it. I'm not going to keep that thing running and try and talk and scream over a vacuum cleaner. Turn it on. Leave the room. Do your thing. If your animal is acting very fearful in the kennel, whining, screaming, crying, then move the vacuum to a further distance away. If you can't do that when you turn it on, gauge the responses. What did I get when the vacuum cleaner was here and it wasn't turned on? Now what do I get when the vacuum cleaner is here, same location, same snake in the same aquarium, but now I turn it on? This is how you progress in science. All right? If you get two different responses, stay with the response that does not evoke the super high stress response, fearful response, until the animal is more comfortable, like a captain. If you can see over there, I don't know, Evan, if you need to get a little closer, notice he's lying down. He's lying down. Okay? Still a little stressed. Hence some of the panting, but nevertheless, he's lying down. When I have that, then I'm ready to proceed on and turn on the sound of the vacuum cleaner. Give it a growl. Give it whatever sound these animals believe that these things make. And if I can, I want to do it in the room. It'd be a snake hissing in the other aquarium. I don't want to do it out of sight, but if I have to, I'll start out of sight and work my way back in. And then, so that's steps 1 and 2. Present the snake, then allow the snake to hiss at a distance away. Remember, these were big aquariums. Big aquariums. Mouse went to the other end. Now, what I can do is find something that I know my dog loves, 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 and use it. Now, Captain, he loves a ball, but a ball may not be practical inside your home. He may say, I appreciate that, Brian, but I'm not about to chuck a ball inside my house, and I get that. Then go for a wonderful treat. Not your normal dog training treats. No, 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 I'm sorry. Velveeta, baby. Yeah. Vienna sausages. Deli turkey. I'm talking the good stuff. Break it out. And at a distance, try and engage your dog. Cal dog. There we go, buddy. So he comes over here and boom, there's a ball. And I'm going to do my best to keep the ball on this side of the room away from the snake. Away from the snake. The last thing you want to have happen is a bad accident, meaning I chuck this ball at the snake, the vacuum cleaner. Captain runs after the ball. He's focused on the ball. He runs into the vacuum cleaner. There we go. Thank you, Brian. You just affirmed my suspicions that that darn thing's a snake because it just attacked me. So watch out for stuff like that. If you're going to use a ball, use it controlled in this little area over here away from the snake. And of course, you know, a treat's a treat. So just do the same thing, give a treat. And also make these kennels a wonderful place, and you should have already done that inside. There you go, buddy. Toss a little treat in there and go about with life. Okay, now what do we do next? The next step, we start to bring the snake closer. Remember, in these studies, the snake initially slammed into that glass. Boom! And then it stayed here, watching. And it hit this glass over and over and over again, till again, there was a magical period of about 2 days, if I recall this one correctly. Cut me some slack. This was about 2.5 decades ago. But I do know that the snake moved away and started hanging out on this side of the aquarium, and the mice moved forward. And then all of a sudden, they're both together, one on one side and one on the other, closely. So now we work the same thing. So now I'm going to get my vacuum cleaner, and I'm going to turn it on for a second, so just stand by to hear some vacuum cleaner noise. In other words, now I have a hissing snake and a moving snake. But again, I'm not moving toward you, not in your direction. Now notice Captain is standing. Again, I've not been working on this with Captain. This is something I wanted to show you guys today because this behavior developed here quickly. And again, I ran through my 3 questions like I told you to do. What is the proximate cause of this? I have my suspicions. Remember I told you when you ask that question, you get to guess? I think it happens to be this. This vacuum cleaner has a wand on it. Wow. Very scary. And why do I have this hypothesis? And I click at the darn thing to work. Please work for me. There we go. You got to be smarter than the darn vacuum cleaner. Okay. Why do I have that as a hypothesis? Because I truly believe, because at home, Captain will actually attack a vacuum cleaner that does not have that wand. Just a cordless one. If he goes out, he'll bark at it and attack it. This one that has the wand, polar opposite reaction. And again, this just started. So I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I just wanted to save it because it started about 2 weeks ago, and I said, I'm going to save that for a Facebook Live. So this is what I'm going to do. So again, snake's in the room. Snake starts to hiss. Snake starts to hiss and move. And then I'm gradually going to work it all the way up to the kennel itself. All the way, as the dog allows me to do so. And then eventually, I'm going to park it right there. Let's see what we get. Cal dog, come on out there, buddy. Yeah, again, he's eyeballing it, but again, I can just kind of get him over it. And look there, the little move that he made. He's got one paw out here, and he's leaning back towards the kennel, and he's wanting to kind of stay near there, like the snake's okay, right? It's okay, it's okay. So again, you've got to watch out for that and don't proceed too quickly. This is my safe haven here. This is me diving underneath those wood chips. But eventually, give me about another week, and I'll kind of show him. I'll just kind of just put this on the plan to show you what he does when I break out this vacuum cleaner and I'm vacuuming this room. Let's see if about a week from now we get a totally opposite reaction from Captain. Let's see if we get an animal that's casual about it, maybe a little concerned, but definitely not diving to the other end of my house, not being so fearful. All right, so that's how you do it. Again, just to repeat, habituation is a wonderful tool. It can work out just like you for this mouse. It worked out for the mouse, it worked out for the snake, and it'll work out just fine as long as they live like this. We turn them loose, and the mouse is probably going to get eaten by the snake. Or the snake may not try to get the mouse, may have learned. You know, when you go after mice, ow, it hurts my nose. So I may not go after them, but I highly doubt that. But for your dog, the kennel, make sure it's in the room. Make sure the animal can see the snake. Make sure the snake doesn't move at first. Make sure the snake then hisses. Then make sure the snake starts to hiss and move at a distance and slowly work it towards your dog. In between all of that, you can park the snake at a distance, not hissing, and then allow your dog to play or have a treat in the room. The biggest thing with this is you can't do this simply when you need to vacuum your floor. You can't. This has to be a project. There has to be a goal in mind, which means for Captain here, count on it. Probably about 10 times in a day, I'm going to go through this. They'll be short, about a minute or two, running the vacuum or just parking it in the room where he's constantly around, throwing the ball around the vacuum cleaner that's not moving, doing all of these things. And then I'm finally going to just turn it on and do my thing and let him do his. But I guarantee he will be laying eyes on this vacuum cleaner on all the steps I just told you about 10 times a day. And you're going to need to do the same thing. You need to have almost a constant presence with the vacuum cleaner at almost all times. And if you can do that, I promise you, your dog will get over its fear of the vacuum cleaner. I've said this many times. I can go to an animal shelter right now, and there could be a dog in there that wants to attack everyone. Very fearful of novel, unfamiliar humans. Allow me to get my hands on that dog somehow, some way. 30 days from now, there will be one human that dog is not afraid of. And that'll be me. And it'll be you if you do the same thing. Habituation. It happens. It occurs naturally. And sometimes you can just speed it along if you harness that cool little thing. Because I think habituation, at the end of the day, is a godsend for dog owners to help their dogs overcome fears. Okay, guys, that's it for today. So again, I've got planned here probably later this week. I've had a couple change of events here just from a personal standpoint. We're supposed to go out of town for a few days. As I've told you guys in other videos, Kira and I are having a house being built in Asheville. Well, it's not ready. So that being said, I'm going to be around here a little bit longer, so I'm shifting a couple of my Facebook Live ideas, and hopefully this week I can show you the opposite end, what happens when a dog attacks your vacuum cleaner. And by the way, just on a funny note, Evan, who is filming this live here this morning, he told me, he goes, you know, Brian, I have a dog who doesn't like the vacuum cleaner, kind of fearful of it, and I use it to stay out of the room. And it works like a champ. He can go in a certain room in his house and hang out in there, and that dog will not go past that vacuum cleaner to enter that room. So again, sometimes it works out for you. It's just a matter of, is it something I just fear a little bit? Or is it something that, like with Captain, that's darn near a panic response, and we never want panic responses. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Have a great training day out there. If you have any suggestions for these lives, make sure you send them in to me, and I'll be glad to go over them as soon as I can. Have a great day.